the whitest Mexican you know. That ain't me, that is Mr. Antonio Hernandez. He ain't even that white. Got that olive undertone.
Good evening, and welcome to the first episode of the Whitest Mexican You Know. This is my own little shit, so the people who have subscribed to the YouTube channel and have been following James and I for a long time, this is my own thing. James is kind of fallen out of the podcast a little bit. He's not too happy with it anymore, that cocksucker. So I'm trying my own thing, and it's pretty much going to be the same podcast. The only difference is I'm going to have some of the best local Las Vegas comedians to be guests on this podcast every week. And today, thank you for popping my cherry, but it's Roscoe Witherspoon.
Hey
What's up, my
guys.
brother?
Hey, my name's Roscoe Witherspoon. I just moved here, basically. Right? We just met a few months ago.
Yeah.
Here,
I remember seeing you one time at Noreen's, and I was like, this fucking guy, like, you blew my mind because of your voice and everything. I was like, this can't be real. And then I met you on the side. I was like, oh, that's that fucking guy.
Yeah, fuck yeah, bro.
That's you all the way.
You got to be as redneck as possible.
Dude. You're like every guy that I went to school with in Texas. It's fucking great.
You're like, there's no way they made it out to Vegas.
Right? All the way out here. But hell yeah, man. So the first thing I want to do is just talk a little bit about you, man. And how long have you been doing stand-up?
I started in October of 2019.
Okay.
A few months before the Rona.
Yeah.
Because in March of 2020, everything closed.
Yeah, when we shut down. Okay, so you've only been doing it, handful of months more than me. I got started in January 2020. Did it for 3 months, and then we were shut down.
Yep. So my January to March was actually, it was the first time I was like, oh shit, this is actually going to be good.
Okay.
Because October to January, bro, I literally didn't get a single laugh.
Oh, yeah.
I went up on stage, my first time bombed, and every time after that, bombed.
It's just shit.
Yeah, I don't know how many times, but it was, I remember thinking I'd already dropped out of school.
Okay.
And I remember thinking, like, fuck, man, this is really what I was going to do.
Yeah.
I done bombed for
Damn.
months and months. I was trying to be smart, though.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know how, like, my favorite comics are Jesselnick and Jimmy Carr.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
So, you get, like, when you watch them parties, like, well, I need to be a super sharp writer and get everything down.
Yeah.
But it didn't fit. Maybe it was the accent.
Yeah. Old Professor Witherspoon out there trying to drop some knowledge.
So things weren't working out, and then I remember my first set that went good. I was talking about, I don't know if you ever seen my bowling joke. I got a joke about bowling.
Yeah.
And I was just at a bar, and they played a commercial for a professional bowling league.
Nice.
And I was like, what the fuck? It didn't even look cool.
Yeah.
So I started writing a joke. I told that joke that night, and it went good. It's the first laugh I ever got.
Nice.
And after that, I was like, well, we're off to the fucking races. Yeah. But I had a direction. All I did was talk about sports for them first few months.
Okay.
Once it started going good, though, it really started, like, I was feeling good. I finally found a thing. I was writing a lot.
Yeah.
And then I got my first showcase the month of the pandemic. I was supposed to do it on, like, March 23rd or something, right?
Yeah.
In March 20th, the whole fucking city shut down.
Oh.
I was at the time, your first showcase feels like a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, I got a guest spot, at Backstop a couple months ago, and I felt like that was the biggest thing. I was like, oh shit, like, I'm supposed to be here. Like, they're expecting me. I gotta fucking do it. So yeah, I mean, a showcase is fucking even bigger than that. You know what I mean?
It was basically the same thing. Yeah. He asked me, he goes, you got 10 minutes? And I should have said yes, but I was honest. I was like, no, I got like 6.5.
Yeah.
Like, shit, I'm confident I can give you, bro. 6.5.
See, now, like, I feel like I have a decent 10 minutes, like, altogether. Like, what I'm really confident in, about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
but I could stretch it into a 15, maybe a 20, but probably 15. So if somebody ever asked me, do you have 15? I'd be like, yeah, I got it. And then
Yep.
I'll stretch my 10 and just make it work.
That's you ever read? There's a book that talks about the difference in in women and men.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that they bring up is that women are more honest in the workplace.
Mm.
And like if you ask a lady, "Hey, can you do this?" If she thinks it's going to be a stretch and she might not do the best job, she's going to tell you because she's going to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
But they were talking about how the vast majority of men will just be like, "Yeah, sure, I got it.
Yeah.
I'm there."
Oh yeah, it's like if you take a woman home and she's like, "You're gonna make me come, right?" You're like, yeah, I got it. It might not happen, but I'll try.
Yeah. And then when you fucking fail, you're just like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But when you make it happen, you pretend like you knew what you was doing the whole time.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, that's cool, man. That's interesting that your what do you call it? Inspirations were Jesselnick and Jimmy Carr. You know, I don't meet a lot of comics who those are their inspirations. Maybe Jesselnick a little more, but Jimmy Carr is kind of an interesting guy. Like, he's good. He's really good.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting because mine, I mean, probably no surprise. I'm Mexican, so it was like George Lopez.
Yeah.
Christopher Titus is one of them. And then Doug Stanhope. Doug Stanhope is like my biggest influence. And I did the same thing where I felt like I need to be, because he's very like social political. He like talks about how people behave and makes it funny. And I thought that's what I had to do because he was my favorite comic.
Yeah.
But I was like, nobody gives a fuck about what I have to say. I'm a fucking 25-year-old nobody. Like, nobody gives a fuck about that. So one of my first jokes that actually, or bits that actually got a decent laugh, was me talking about how when I was at an In-N-Out, I was fantasizing about raping some douchebag who was there. And like I just painted this whole picture of like bending his face into, or putting his face into a double-double, giving it to him animal style, like just stupid shit like that. And it actually went over pretty well. And then after the pandemic, when I went back to Noreen's, Gabe, he was about to introduce me. And he was like, "Oh, and this dude had a hilarious bit about raping a dude at an In-N-Out." He was like, "I've been thinking about it since the shutdown." I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, that was actually a good feeling because I was like, "This dude remembered my bit." Like, and I didn't talk to Gabe very much at the time, but I was like, "That's fucking awesome."
Yeah. When you get a good bit and people kind of know you for it, you feel there's something about writing something. It's just like putting out a painting or a piece of art, and then other people really like it.
Yeah.
You get it's almost like building something with your hands and then having it done.
Yeah.
And it works, and you're like, "Oh, I made that top to bottom."
Yeah.
It's the shit.
And it's interesting because my girlfriend, she used to play piano like competitively, so she would put on performances and all of this shit. And so her and I talk a lot about the differences between performing music and doing stand-up. The biggest one is no matter how bad you are really performing music, you're going to get applause at the end, you know? And even then, if you fuck up a little bit during it, sometimes people don't even realize.
Yeah.
But with stand-up, you know, and the audience knows in the middle of it how it's going. And it's fucked. It is so fucked. The first time I did stand-up, it was okay. Like, I didn't get laughs. I got a chuckle here or there, you know?
Yeah.
But the first time that I actually bombed, where it was nobody was laughing, but also nobody was talking. So that means everybody was paying attention to me and was just like, "Fuck you, dude."
Yeah.
That hurt. And I was panicking up there. I was like stumbling and stuttering. I was like, "Fuck, man, this is rough." And I got home and I started complaining to her. I was like, "Why the fuck am I doing this?"
Them deer in the headlights looks.
Oh, it's fucked.
We all get it. You get that feeling.
Yeah.
It's like when you're a kid and your mom yells at you for something, you get that warm glow through your whole body.
Yeah, yep.
That's exactly what it is. You're standing there and you're like, I don't want to say nothing else because everything I said's been terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing's been fun.
And it's exactly like that. Like, if your mom's yelling at you, you don't want to say anything. You're just like, "Oh, fuck." Like, if I say one word, she's going to smack the fuck out of me.
Yeah. I remember the worst bomb I ever had. Nobody had said nothing. Like, they hadn't laughed, nothing. But everybody was staring at me, kind of like your story.
Yeah.
And they were just staring at me. And I'm like 2/3 of the way through the set. And a guy goes, "Hey, man, your jokes ain't the worst, but your shtick is terrible."
Oh.
And I was like, fuck.
Yeah, that's fucked. Because it's like, you're all right, but your whole persona, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
Fuck you, dude.
But who you are is awful.
Oh, man.
Okay?
That's rough.
Yeah, bro. And but once you stick through it and you start finding your groove,
Yeah.
it ends up being like real good. And a lot of it's because you ain't willing to actually talk about or you don't even think about what you actually think about.
Mm-hmm.
It's more you're thinking about your favorite comics and what they think about
Okay.
and trying it out.
Yeah.
So you ever watch the other like big inspirations I had was Cat Williams.
Okay.
I loved Cat Williams.
Yeah.
And you ever watch Eddie Izzard?
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
he's fucking great.
and that guy started doing shit on the street
Oh, yeah.
in England.
Yeah.
And he would set up like little tables and chairs in the park. And then he'd just start bullshitting for hours.
Damn.
Trying to get people to sit down. And that's how he got such a conversational
Man.
style. So when I heard that and I moved out to Vegas, I was like, I gotta go do Fremont Street.
Dude, when you told me that story about you going out there, you were telling me how I need to do it. Bro, there's no fucking way I could do that. Like, I think about it, and I even saw a picture that you have maybe like on your Instagram
Yeah.
of you out there. It's like, dude, fuck off. Like, the balls that takes, because nobody's paying for anything. They're just walking by. They could yell whatever they want at you. They could
Yep.
just sit there and just yell at you.
Yep.
And I just could not. I would not be able to handle that shit. I'd fall apart.
People just think you're a random homeless guy.
Yeah.
They don't think that you're like. That's the thing I realized is I was having people come up to me and be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Comedy," and they were like, "Oh, like okay, we get it now." But because there's musicians, there's like naked midgets,
Yeah.
there's everything under. There's nuns. There's this lady who's got the worst C-section scar I have ever seen,
Yeah.
and she didn't wear any clothes except for nipple pasties. And she dresses up as a nun. She's a naked nun with a C-section scar.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't even think you can be a nun if you've had a kid.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But so you're competing against all that. There's one time there was a lady who was rapping like in the circle right next to me. So you're competing against dancers, against rappers. So it ain't even that people yell shit at you. It's mostly that nobody's paying any attention.
It's just getting the attention on you. Because if you can get a group of people to pay attention to you and there's some naked whore next to you, like, you know you're doing something. Like,
Yep.
I got you to stop looking at tits to look at me.
Yeah.
That's great, man.
And it completely changed my life, like stand-up wise. And I probably only done it like 25 times or something at this point.
That's a lot, though.
You get a 2-hour time slot too, so you're just standing out there.
Wow.
And I remember going out with all my material, and I was like, I'm gonna just get up there and rip my material.
Yeah.
It don't work like that.
No, it's a lot different.
So it changed my life because I felt like my stand-up, I was super rigid. I would go up and I had my bits laid out in my head, and I did them this joke after that joke after that joke.
Yeah.
And when everything goes great and the crowd is respectful and everything, then you can still get good laughs.
Yeah.
But if somebody interrupted my set, I didn't have the bandwidth almost to deal with it.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't a heckle, like if there's something that happens, you're having an intimate conversation with people.
Yeah.
Even if you got a bigger crowd, the idea is that they're supposed to feel like it's intimate.
Yeah.
So if somebody says something, just like if it's in your living room, you kind of got to address it.
Yeah. Because if somebody was sitting in your living room and you're talking and they say something and you just blow them off, it's weird. Like, they'll just sit there like, okay, fuck you then.
Yeah. So being on the street, you can't keep doing your material.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible. So to just get up there and actually start to feel free, because at first you get that hot feeling, but then you realize people don't care. They're still walking past you.
Yeah.
So fuck it, just try to talk to them.
Yeah, and I could see how that's a lot different than bombing on stage, like at a bar or something, because everybody's sitting there we're all in this we're isolated by these four walls. And so everybody's stuck there together. And so if you start to bomb, everybody's just watching you and everybody's uncomfortable. But if it's on the street, if they don't like what you're saying, they're just walking away.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, keep walking. You know?
You can get some devout fans on the street too. I had the picture you seen on my Instagram was actually a lady who was sitting in there's on Fremont Street, for those who don't know, there's Las Vegas has like the Strip, which everybody knows, but then they got downtown.
Mm-hmm. It's like the old Strip.
It's the old casinos and everything.
Yeah,
the new casinos that everybody loves were built in the late 80s, early 90s. So pre that, Las Vegas it had the Golden Nugget and the Plaza and all that shit. In the street, down the middle of it, has all these performers circles, but there's still businesses on the side, restaurants and everything. So this guy and his wife was sitting at a restaurant, and they could hear me.
Okay.
And they were enjoying it, but nobody else was.
Okay.
So they were coming up to me, and like they would ask me to do random jokes about random shit. They gave me a 5.
Nice.
And they took the picture of me.
Oh, okay.
But I probably like 5 or 6 different times, just being out there so long, you'll get like small groups of people, 2 to 5 people, who are just standing around and they're appreciating you.
Yeah.
So you can kind of get a feel for if it's going okay enough to have somebody look.
Yeah.
But when you start being free and you start going, hey man, like I noticed you've been sitting around. What are you doing? Where are you from?
Yeah.
And you start building that.
It's that crowd work thing, because it's the same at a bar or a club. It's, you know, if you run out of material or if somebody heckles you, you have to have that muscle to come back at them. And even if it's not mean, because like, you know, comics who would just attack somebody. Yeah. Even if it's not mean, you just address them, talk to them, and you could get some good material out of it.
Yeah.
Because like I was at the Urban Lounge a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think it was like my first time there, and my jokes were okay or going over okay. And then anytime a joke didn't land, there was a guy sitting in the back of the bar, and he would just go, "Fuck him." And I was like, "Oh fuck!" And like I had bombed enough up until this point that I addressed it. And so like the first time I just let it go. I laughed about it, whatever. And then he did it again, and then the third time when a joke didn't land, I said it. And then it got them on my side, and so then I used it to my advantage. And then by the end of the show, it was great.
Yeah.
It was, that was the weirdest one. Is just him going, "Fuck him." I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And I've seen that guy at Urban Lounge like recently. I was sitting there, and he came up to the host, Tab, and he was like, "Oh, hey, I'm leaving, whatever." And then he looked at me. He goes, "Is this that guy?" And she goes, "What? Like, yeah, he's funny, whatever." He goes, "No, fuck him. That's the guy." I was like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "You're that fucking guy." Man.
And most of the time, too, like, comics get real up in their fucking panties about hecklers. But most of the time, the hecklers ain't... If you was being super funny, they wouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
They ain't trying to disrupt your show. They're trying to improve your show.
Yeah. So, they feel like they could.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they ain't comics, so they're improving it rude to you.
Yeah.
But so I realized too that like I didn't want to be the guy who was mean. Plus being a redneck right now in America and then being mean just looks super bad.
Yeah.
So, but I realized too that if you can be nice to them and address the heckle, it automatically gets like them on your side and a big pop.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember one time, like I wasn't even getting heckled. I guess it's technically a heckle, but I was doing real good at one of my showcases, and I had this fat guy rolling about my roller coaster bit I had in water slides, and we was talking about water slides, and he was laughing so hard, and then he interrupted. He like shouted something out. But I got him to say what it was again, and it was something about water slides.
Yeah.
And then my next joke, I actually lined up with him being fat.
Nice.
And the fact that they ran in line with each other, and he was a super good sport about it. So I kind of dissed him, but also was like you being sodomized by the 1 inch gap, because you know how water slides got them, they're uneven.
Yeah.
I was like, you're the fat guy who gets sodomized by the gap, and he loved it. Like,
nice.
But it brings the whole crowd in.
Yeah.
But if I hadn't been on the street, then I don't think I would have had the ability to try to stay in the bit whilst addressing the other guy.
Yeah.
So it's...
And that's the thing. I mean, I was at Cork and Thorn a little while ago, and you know they have those couches that are like right next to you where you're performing, and so I was talking about like morphine or whatever, and there's a black lady who's sitting there. She goes, "Man, that's a white boy thing." And I just turned over to her and I was like, I know that's a white boy thing. And she goes, "Oh my God, you heard me?" I was like, "You're right there. Of course I heard you." And then it got everybody to like laugh about it, you know, because for people who don't heckle, when they hear a heckle, they get weird. They're like, "Oh shit, like shit could go down." But if you make it lighthearted, then they're like, "Okay, everything's good. We're all just having fun." And it gets everybody, you know, back in the show.
Yep. Yeah. And I like echoing back to an earlier point you made about I'm a 25-year-old, nobody's trying to learn nothing from me.
Yeah.
It's like that's something I think everybody got to realize is ain't nobody trying to learn something from a ha-ha teller.
Yeah.
You're literally the jester. You ain't a PhD.
Exactly.
You ain't teaching nothing.
Yeah.
But it's the comics who have been doing stand-up for years, decades. They're the ones who is good enough to make them comments. But if you look at all the people who make comments now, social commentary now, if you watch them when they's in their 20s, they wouldn't make no social commentary.
They're making dick jokes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dick joke. They're talking about just the regular bullshit of life.
Yeah.
And they eventually mature into a point where also the public respects them enough to make them comments.
Yeah.
Where right now it's like, who are you teaching?
Yeah. Who are you trying to educate? Some drunk asshole at a bar? Like, he doesn't care.
And in 10 years, you're going to think this advice is terrible.
Yeah.
So, just keeping on moving on and just trying to be funny and lighthearted and give people a good time.
Yeah.
That's what, going with the heckles and everything, if you make it a good time and try to make it not a negative part of the show, everybody appreciates it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, some comics, I feel like you always hear about those comics who are always on. Like, even when you talk to them outside of doing stand-up, they're firing off jokes. They're always on. There are some comics who are only on when they're doing their material. Like last night, we saw it was that whole game show thing.
Yeah.
There was one section where the hosts would ask everybody a question, and that was your whole set, is you had to answer questions. There were some people who went up there and they just answered the question, you know? It was like, you know, what's your favorite whatever? And they just gave a serious answer. And I'm like, no, this is when you have to be on it. Like, you have to be, you know, ready to go. Because I got asked, you know, the AJ, he asked me, you know, which one of your uncles hurt you?
Yeah.
And my response, like, I'm not just going to be up there and go, "Oh, well, none of my uncles would ever touch me." I was like, no, his name was AJ, and how dare you, bro? It's like, you got to just be on it, you know?
Yep. Try to add to the joke. Do you watch professional wrestling?
No, not anymore.
So,
I used to when I was a kid.
I never got super into it, mostly because the UFC was out. And when you watch the UFC, you're like, well, pro wrestling ain't shit.
Yeah.
But pro wrestling, because it's fake and everybody knows it's fake, they got to really sell shit.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's a great YouTube video of it's The Rock before and after. I think that's the title.
Okay.
And it shows The Rock before he was giant, but he was still The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And in interviews, they would ask him questions and he would give straight up answers. He'd be like, yes, no, or like a simple, straightforward answer.
Yeah.
And then the after was they would ask him a question, he'd give the answer, and then he'd go, but let me tell you why.
Yeah.
And he'd extrapolate. And even if it ain't a funny story, or as long as it's a story that evokes some kind of emotion, it's better than not giving any follow-up to the question. It makes it interesting.
Yeah.
And so he was out there, and they'd be like, so, I don't know, how'd you get your dog? And he'd be like, well, I got it at a pound, but funny story about the pound. And then he launches into a whole thing about the situation where he got his dog.
Oh, yeah.
And everything's a story. Like, especially if you're disappointed. I remember I went to a car dealership one time. You ever, so Avis or Enterprise, they sell their old rental cars for like way cheap.
Okay.
So great way to get a pretty new car.
Yeah.
Because they try to rotate out their cars. That way they ain't driving no fucking 1993 Toyota Camrys in their rental car lot.
And for its whole life, it's always been cleaned and serviced, so you know it's in pretty good shape.
Yep.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's great. And you can get it for like $5 or $6 under MSRP.
Damn.
So I was there, and I was trying to sign up to get my car, and there's just this Russian guy who was working the counter, and he told me, and he was like, no, like, we ain't, whatever you did, you didn't qualify, is what it is. And I was kind of bummed, but then I got back in my girlfriend's car, and we was driving home, and I started thinking, that's actually a kind of a funny story. A Russian immigrant who don't tell no, he barely knows what's going on every day, just telling everybody no.
Yeah.
And the boss must be like, dude, you ain't sold no cars.
It's like all these people aren't good enough. Like, how dare you?
He's like, I don't like their credit. It ain't about your credit line, it's about mine. So it's just everything's something.
Yeah.
And treating everything like it's something gets you quite a ways. But people being on all the time, you're right, a lot of the time they lose when they should be on. Because you talk to them off stage and you're like, bro, you're ripping it. Then they get on stage and you're like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You was just ripping it.
Oh, yeah.
I got to piss. Hang on.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Go for it. I was actually just thinking about it. And, the podcast that I was doing with my buddy, we did it for like 4 years. We started when we were in Denver, just fucking around. And then we just kept doing it, very consistent every single week. And at this point, we have like 170 subscribers, that we built from zero, you know. And I was thinking about it, and I feel like that it's kind of like stand-up. And what you were doing on Fremont is, for a while, we were just doing these pre-recorded ones, and then we would release them every week. And then we started doing live stream. And so at that point, there's no taking a break. There's no let's regroup for a second, and start back up again. It was, we're live. Some people are watching, and we got to go for this hour.
Yeah.
And it's just, you got to be on it. You got to keep it entertaining. And I feel like that made me, in a sense, a better podcaster. And in a sense, it helped me with stand-up.
Yeah.
Because I did the podcast way before I did stand-up. And so there was an element of, like, I know what it's like to try to entertain somebody. And so it really helped me. And especially with the live streaming, it's like people are listening. They can comment. They can do everything. And so getting on stage was a little easier because I'm like, it's a little different because these people are looking at me in the face, but it's still the same. Like, I got to keep it moving. I got to keep entertaining you for as long as I'm here.
Yeah. And it's better to be interesting than nothing at all. That's one of the things that I think not enough people appreciate is stand-up comics, is that not just being interesting is better than nothing, but that your funny comes from your analysis of interesting shit.
Yeah.
That's where you're funny. And I had a hard time initially because I was sitting there only looking for what was funny in anything without the interesting context.
Yeah.
And then I didn't appreciate the fact that my immediate thought, whatever my immediate, like, dang, this is what I think, that's actually unique. I thought it was just basic and I needed to go deeper. And in all reality, no, that's how you analyze things. And in all reality, nobody else does it that way.
Yeah. I had that same realization when I started doing comedy, because I would have a hard time writing because, like, if a topic came up, my initial thought, I was like, don't go with that. Like, dive deeper into it. And then I realized the same thing. It's like, no, go with that and expand on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's unique to you. This is how you see the world,
100%. That's why I think everybody's group of idols, the Bible says don't worship false idols. And they claim it's just God, but I think that it's like, if you idolize the good parts about a whole various group of people, say you got 30 idols that make up your idol tree. You're collecting, it's almost a backwards tree. You collect all these idols, and then the tree builds into a root that is you.
Okay.
The base is you.
Yeah.
And as long as you ain't taken from just one guy, you end up with a completely unique collection of idols that is only you actually got that group of idols.
Yeah.
Somebody might got 10, they might got 15 of the same idols,
Yeah.
but their other 15 is going to make them a totally different person.
Yeah.
So if you can combine all of that and you got your own unique you, even if you're looking at a whole different group of people, and
Yeah.
they ain't even all got to be comics. Like, yeah, I mean, I probably got like 5 or 6 major comedy idols, but then after that, it's like Chael Sonnen. You know who Chael Sonnen is? Dude, he's got great YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And almost analyzing his point of view and how he thinks about things.
Yeah.
He's kind of a trash-ass fighter, no offense. He was kind of a trash-ass fighter, but he fought for 5 world championships because he had the tongue to match it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I mean, he would.
Yeah, he's one of the best shit talkers. So
Yeah, all time. And it put him in title fights that he didn't really have no business being in.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, sure, he still won the fights to get there and everything.
Yeah.
But if you look at his record, it'll be like Chael will win 2 fights and then he's fighting for a title. Then he loses 2 fights. You're like, oh, is Chael going to get cut? Wins 2 more fights, fighting for a title.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
what? But it's because he drove that, the crowd. He drove everybody insane with his words.
Yeah.
And it brought audience.
Yeah.
And thinking about that is like, what? There's a normal way that comics who ain't made it yet get upset, or they follow like the basic comedy trajectory. They're like, I write jokes, I do this, I do that.
Yeah.
And then when they see somebody going outside the walls, they're like, wait, you ain't doing the right thing. This ain't comedy. This ain't. They start trying to correct how you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But as long as you're getting laughs, it's all about being interesting. The most famous comics ain't the highest laughs per minute comics.
No.
They're the ones with the personality that when they talk, you're interested to hear what they got to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chael broke down Conor McGregor like that. Mm-hmm. He was like, think about Conor. Now think about Conor eating breakfast. Think about Conor drinking tea.
Yeah.
Like, at any point, if you tuned in, you're pretty confident it's going to be something interesting.
Yeah. Like, you're going to see something that's going to keep you watching, you know, however long that is. Like, if you start off the first 30 seconds, it's probably going to be funny enough or interesting enough to pull you through the 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're like, you're sitting there going, why is he eating porridge with a fork?
Yeah.
And it's just
Why does he keep saying fuck? He's just drinking tea. Relax.
Yeah. Just him doing wild shit. He's got that cult of personality, which is why he ain't never going to be the champion again.
Yeah.
But he definitely is going to command the biggest pay-per-view numbers.
Yep.
Because everybody wants to see him for him. They want to hear him and what he got to say.
Yeah.
And that's the same with Joe Rogan had the podcast, which really blew up his stand-up. Mm-hmm. But part of that is now he's got 100 million people or more every week tuning in going, I want to hear how Joe Rogan is processing this information. Yeah. Whatever information it is.
Yeah. And it's all about who you surround yourself with, too, because with the whole Joe Rogan example, he gets interesting people, he gets funny people. It's like he expands himself so much that's what makes him interesting, is that you want to hear what he has to say when he's talking to a fucking neurosurgeon or to another comedian. It's like he's expanded himself so much that it draws you in.
Yep, and you got the whole range of Joe Rogan. You have Joe Rogan high as a kite, having smoked a blunt and taking mushrooms earlier in the day, hanging out with his friends in a NASA suit.
Yeah.
And then you also got Joe Rogan trying to like one-up Sanjay Gupta on CNN. So you get like the whole range of him. And so then when he's on stage, it's wherever he's going, you're excited to hear his version of it. Yeah. Nobody else is going to talk about dolphins while he's high the same way as Joe Rogan. Yeah. And it ain't even that he's doing it necessarily the best. Somebody might have a better joke. Yeah. But we ain't as interested to hear what they got to say about.
Because it's a personal thing.
Yeah.
You know? It's like even with friends that you have. There's some friends that you want to talk to about a certain subject because they're going to have a good take on it. Yep. Other friends, you wouldn't bring it up to them because it's going to be whatever.
They're just going to give you a simple answer and then they're going to move on.
So, the last actual question I want to
Yeah.
get out, and then we'll jump to these videos that I got, because you're gonna. It's fucking great.
It
You were already
looks
commenting.
wild. Yeah. Looks like a pastor fucking his granddaughter.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. But what actually got you to want to do stand up? Like, what was the moment where you're like, I'm gonna try to do this?
So there's probably a few. The first one is when I was in middle school, I finally got internet. So we didn't have the internet on my, like, basically the I-40.
Mm-hmm.
So through Arkansas, the I-40 runs through the, like, basically the center, but kind of a little bit north of center.
Mm-hmm.
And it curves down into Little Rock. And I live, if you take the I-40 the whole way to the edge of the state and go north, there's two other big cities, Fayetteville and, what's the guy, Fitzy? He's from there. Bonerville, no, Bentonville.
Okay.
Bentonville. Fayetteville and Bentonville. It's really like one city. They claim it's like Dallas-Fort Worth.
Yeah.
So Bentonville and Fayetteville is up over there, and Little Rock's in the center of the state. I'm kind of like dead set between the two, but then an hour north. So just straight up bumfuck Egypt.
Yeah.
In north of the I-40, there wasn't no internet. You just couldn't get it. I mean, it's the early 2000s. Internet basically just came out.
Yeah.
So we didn't have no internet, and so when I finally got internet, I just binge watched as much stand-up as I could. And I didn't know it at the time that I was doing it, and I liked stand-up that much.
Yeah.
But I probably watched every single special on Netflix.
Okay.
And then when I was 16, I wrote a bunch of jokes and decided I was going to try stand-up. My mama found the jokes, and she threw them all away.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And she was like, you ain't doing that. Like, you're going to disrespect people. Like, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. And to be fair, I was a savage fucking kid.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't, it sounds weird to say now, but I wasn't country enough for a lot of my, like, super country friends.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's just like, as a kid, I wasn't into, my pops didn't hunt. He hunted as a kid.
Oh, okay.
And he hated it.
Yeah.
And he hated early mornings and shit. So he was like, we ain't going out and hunting. We ain't doing that kind of shit. So I grew up in the outdoors kind of, but it was more like we'd fuck around and shoot at squirrels.
Yeah.
We'd fuck around and do shit. But it would never, I never participated in the super, like, country shit.
Yeah.
We didn't have animals. We didn't have a lot of that stuff.
Gotcha.
So to my friends, they were always like, oh, you're so city. Like, I was always wearing them Jordans and fake, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shaqs and fake Jordans. But so I was city for them. And then I came to the city when I was in high school, and I was like, I'm way too country for these motherfuckers. I thought I was city as fuck.
Yeah.
But then I was in college, and I was going to be a financier. I was going to college for finance. And I remember listening to Jordan Peterson.
Okay.
And he was talking about how, like, it's kind of your duty almost to whatever you're called to do in a free society. There's going to be people who is financiers.
Because that's what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're going to be better than you because if you're just trying to fake climbing that ladder, you're going to be miserable if you get good at it, because now that's all you can do, and you're too good at it to leave. So it was kind of like, climb the mountain you actually want to climb your Everest, because if you climb a mountain next to Everest and you get to the top, you're going to look over at Everest, be like, God damn, I'm at the top of a mountain, but I wished I was at that one.
Oh, yeah.
And now you got to climb down that mountain, and go over and go up the other one.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there in my college dorm room going, what do I want to do? And everybody had been telling me, like, you got to try stand-up, like, all this shit. So, well, not everybody, but enough people. You know what I mean? You get 3 people tell you, you're like, fuck it, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. So
then I moved back to Denver after I dropped out of school, because that's where my parents was, and I just started trying it, and it wouldn't no like giant inspiration like I got to do it, but I dropped out of school because I was like, whatever I want to do, it ain't involving college.
Yeah.
And there's no point. I could become a salesman and make okay money if I need. If everything fails, I can do other shit without a degree and still make okay money. And that's all you fucking need to be okay happy, right? It's just a little bit of money, just okay money. So I was like, I can always do that, but I ain't going to get locked into like some kind of financier job, working a bunch of hours, and then try to go do stand-up afterwards.
Yeah.
And then if you get a degree and then you quit everything to go be a comic, everybody's going to be like, why'd you get a degree?
Yeah. They're going to, and it kind of is. Like, if you're doing finance, you're making good money, your degree was worth getting. But if you stop, it was a waste of time and money.
Yep.
And that's kind of how I was. My dad was always a guy who said, go to college. And he pushed it all the time. I tried to get into a technical college for aviation engineer. And they didn't accept me. They were just like, you don't have enough whatever from high school.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, then fuck college, because I didn't even want to do that in the first place. I just thought it was a good avenue. And then that's when I moved out to Denver and I worked in the weed industry, because I was like, hey, I'm at least going to be happy doing this, And my dad, like, I used to sell weed, back in the day in Texas. So like now I'm doing it legally. I'm paying my taxes with it.
Yeah,
so,
fuck yeah.
And it was interesting because I got kicked out of my parents' house when I was 16 because I had weed on me. And then now I've built a career 6 years in this industry, paying my taxes with the same shit that got me kicked out of my parents' house.
Yeah.
And it's wild. My dad still doesn't understand it. He's just like, you can't say it's an industry if you're just selling weed. I'm like, I'm not just selling weed. Like, this is all legal.
It's like, listen, Pops, you can make an industry out of selling craft beer.
Yeah.
Right?
It's the same thing.
Dude, beer's worse for you than weed is. Like,
there are people who work in the tobacco industry.
Dude, tobacco's terrible for you. Yeah. Dude, I remember, somebody was talking about this the other day. But it's funny that the tobacco companies were always trying to tell people that tobacco ain't bad for you. When once they came out and said it was, they didn't see a decrease in sales. Nope. Just tell everybody it's bad for you, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great time.
You look cool doing it. Just do it.
Yeah. Like, people is still going to, we're all looking for a little change of pace in our heads.
Oh, yeah.
In the people that ain't, the people I know who ain't got no vices actually got the worst vices.
Yeah.
They're pretending that they ain't got none, but they're womanizing, or they're doing something to try to fill that vice void, that getting that brain chemistry change.
I mean, it's even like religion. I mean, some people use religion as a vice. They can get everything, comfort, all of that shit out of religion or politics or whatever it is. Like, we're creatures. We need, like, we're addictive creatures. Like, that's really what it is.
100%.
Like, we love to feel good. And I know that for sure. I've been addicted to everything under the sun, and I'm still trying to, just find the best ones for me.
Yeah, and that's why you get into stand-up, and when you get that first real good set, you get that like, shit, you're addicted. You're in hook, line, and sinker.
For me, it was the first time I was ever on stage. Like, I didn't do great, but getting off, I was just like, yes. Like, I got a little bit of a high, and I was like, I'm meant to do this. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not the funniest comic out in this scene. I'm still trying to get shit together. Yeah. But it was just that I need it, because it gave me a high. I was driving home, and I was fucking way up here. I was like, dude, what the fuck is this? And, like, I've had great highs before. I've done morphine, and that, like, it doesn't even compare. It's wild.
Yeah, there's a certain, like, feeling innate into humans. There's something I think about, like, we used to live in tribes of 300, and we used to travel around in our little tribe and hunt buffalo and shit. So we're constantly striving to occupy one of them 300 positions within our tribe.
Yeah.
And guys have been told, since we got out of tribes and we started civilization, that your job is to just be the breadwinner. Just make sure that you and your kids and your lady can have a nice life.
Yeah.
And that's what we're always told.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, you can do that in any of them 300 ways, but we all get bogged down going like a specific way, and everybody's shooting for one of them 300, which, whether that be working construction or working finance.
Yeah.
And in whatever case, it's kind of one of them, like, I'm doing shit I wouldn't do if I didn't have to.
Yeah.
And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
one of them positions is a storyteller.
Yeah.
There's stuff with the Native Americans
Yeah.
where they talk about how the most valuable person in the tribe was the chief. But the second most valuable person in the tribe was the storyteller at night around the campfire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Because that's almost how they documented history. They would tell
Yeah.
these stories because, you could write it down, but a lot of times they didn't have a written language or anything. So they would just tell the story. And then the next kid who's sitting there and his mind is blown by the guy telling him the story, he's going to grow up and tell the story.
Yep.
And it's exactly what it is.
the passer of knowledge, but also, like, Jordan Peterson talks about this, that fiction sometimes has more truities to it than even a true story does.
Yeah.
And you can get that, the storytellers pass down that knowledge from generation to generation.
Yeah.
Even if the story's about a fucking wolf running from the moon,
Yeah.
which we know that the moon ain't chasing you now. But that story conveys something else, and we shouldn't scoff at the idea that he's running from the moon because he can't run from the moon.
Yeah.
We should instead look at, what does that story mean? What's it getting across?
Yeah.
And what values is it trying to impart upon us to improve?
Yeah.
And occupying that position is that storyteller in the tribe. He told bad stories before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the tribe
He
wasn't
bombed.
interested. Yeah. And people were like, sit down, we're having the other storyteller go up. But occupying whatever place in that society, whether you're a carer and a nurturer, whether you want to be a hunter and bring home food, whether you're trying to go out and talk, if you're a Native American tribe and you're trying to go out and make trades with other tribes, whatever it is, finding that position in that, like, almost if the whole world hit apocalypse and you found a small group of people, you'd all be doing something to bring value. What would your thing be in that position? Ignore money, ignore the current setup we got in our society.
Yeah.
What would you do in a crowd of 300 of your closest friends that you know?
Yeah.
And I realized that I was always the guy in a group of friends who was telling stories, who was, if somebody told a story, almost extrapolating upon it and being like, where does this go? What does that say? Should we? I had a buddy tell me a story about how he was smashing this one lady he met at work, and she told him when he went over to her place, she told him that she had a man, but that things hadn't been working out recently, and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And after like a week of being over at her place, he went back to work, and his manager was all like downtrodden one day. And he goes, what's up, man? And the guy's like, dude, I just found out my lady told me that I've been getting cheated on this whole time. And he found out a few weeks later that it was him.
Damn.
But the guy's lady / my friend's lady didn't tell the guy that it was him.
Yeah.
But still, like, and there's more to extract. Like, if a lady tells you she got a man, maybe it's dangerous. Like, there's a lot, but also, like, some ladies is trifling. You know what I mean? Sometimes they're playing a lot of cards, and if you ain't trying to get into a spider web, you don't want to get in there.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, almost extrapolating that shit out, and it's great to be around other storytellers, too.
And that's what I was just thinking about. When you said if, it was an apocalypse and you got 300 of your closest friends, well, at this point in both of our lives, probably most of our closest friends are comics.
Yep.
So it's just going to be a bunch of starving people telling jokes. It's like, we can't eat off of this. Like, somebody's got to go hunt.
Yeah.
But that made me think, that story made me think of when I was like 15, my cousin, he lived right next door to me. And he's about my age, I think, like a year older. One day, we're hanging out, smoking weed, we're drinking, and then we're both just horny fucking 15-year-olds. And we're like, we got to get women here, And so he knew a chick who was kind of, loose with it. Yeah. And so he hits her up and he's like, hey, like, do you have any friends? Like, do you want to come over? Yada, yada, yada. After like 20 minutes of going back and forth, she goes, I don't have any friends who will come out, but I don't mind fucking you and your cousin.
Oh,
And
shit.
so we're like, okay, bring her
You're
over.
15. Yeah, you're like, come on.
And so that was my first threesome, was with my cousin and this bitch. And so we're going at it, whatever. Weirdest thing is that this dude, my cousin, I don't know if it was the situation or if he always does this. This motherfucker giggles. Like when he's fucking, he giggles.
Oh,
And it was
shit.
so fucking hard. Like she'd be blowing me. He's hitting it from the back. And then I would just hear him laugh. And then I would just go soft. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? You're making this way too hard.
You're ruining it for me.
And then we get done. She leaves, whatever. Like a week later, I'm with one of my buddies. And he's like, hey, man, can you drive over to this place? I'm going to sell these people some weed. I'm like, okay. So I drive him over there. And that chick that I had banged a week earlier gets in with her boyfriend. They were in the backseat of my car. And he starts doing the deal, and I'm like, oh, shit. Like, I knew she had a boyfriend, but it was like, oh, shit. And then she gets, like, a message on her phone or whatever, and she picks it, and she goes, oh, shit, like, I'm going to go to a party tonight. And he goes, why? So you can fuck two dudes again? I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, I'm not saying nothing. He probably doesn't know it's me. Like, and then they get out of their car, and I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, that could have been bad.
Yeah. Dude, and it's Texas. He got a gun. It's game over, bro.
And my buddy's selling him weed. I was like, dude, what the fuck? But that's that small town shit, man.
Yeah.
Is it always gets back to him.
Dude, you don't want to fuck with a guy's lady, because even if you got to let him figure out that he needs to get out of the situation.
Yeah.
Because guys will get super territorial, and then they start shooting, they start fighting, they start whatever, and it don't matter what it is. You ain't trying to be involved.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's fucking life's wild, bro. That's it's crazy that in hindsight, I feel like I learned a bunch of good skills from growing up in the middle of nowhere. We talked about it outside, like you learn how to drill shit and build shit and everything, but you're so sheltered from a lot of the things that adults deal with.
Yeah.
And a lot of I mean, sure, when you're 8 or 9, you shouldn't be exposed to that stuff. But as you start getting older, it's kind of a disservice that nobody's parents come in and kind of explain, like, hey, man, this all about to get way stickier.
Yeah.
You're just told, like, you're about to grow up, you're about to whatever.
You're going to have responsibilities. You're not going to tell me that I fuck a chick and her boyfriend's in the backseat of my car.
Yeah.
Like, that's the life advice you haven't given me.
Yeah, that'd be great if somebody's dad sat everybody down and was like, hey, guys, watch out who you're fucking. And if she got a boyfriend, it might sound like a good idea, but you don't know what it's about to lead to.
Yeah. You could say you don't care, but wait until you meet the fucking guy.
Yeah, you ain't sure who she's trifling with.
And see, that's the thing, like, my girlfriend and I have talked about it, like, we're probably not going to have kids. You know, I've been that way, you know, probably most of my life, that I don't really want kids. I'm a very selfish person. I just want to do my own thing.
Yeah.
But I'm an uncle, you know, and my nephews are 10 years old at this point. And I'm thinking about that. I'm like, 3 years will fly by. I know what the fuck I was doing at 13, you know? And it's like, I want to be that uncle. I want to be that uncle to sit you down and tell you shit your parents aren't going to tell you.
Yep.
Tell you the stories that I have of doing the crazy shit I was doing. So maybe you can, you know, go out and explore, like, do what you need to do to grow up a little bit. But don't make these mistakes, because I've fucking been there, because I didn't have somebody to do that for me.
And in the back of their head, then they got your story, kind of like the wolf running from the moon in the back of their head, just like, okay, I got some kind of basis to grab onto to jump off from. Yeah. And
I mean, it's like pornography. You know, with porn, nobody told me, like, my parents never sat me down with sex. Like, they never gave me the sex talk. I just eventually found porn one time, you know, and then that was fucking it.
Yep.
And my parents caught me really quickly, because on the computer, they just went to search the history, and it was like ass parade. And they're like, all right, I know what he's doing. But I want to get into these videos.
Let's do it. Let me piss before we get in. But
we can do it. I'll introduce it. Go ahead. Yeah, I got to piss too, man. What the fuck? For real. All right. So I got these videos. I got a handful of them. I think it's like 5 or 6. A lot of them are real short, but it's just bad acting in porn.
Ah,
Like,
okay.
So let's just jump right into this first one.
Don't do it. No. That's not good. No. No.
He's like the
No.
Pope.
And because like this is just gonna like I'm gonna have a YouTube video and an audio only for people who just want to listen to it.
Okay.
So if you're just listening, it's a very old guy. He looks like he's in his 70s, and this young chick who's got to be like 18, 19. And she just keeps licking him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you noticed that, but she's like
Yeah,
licking his cheek, and he's just saying
He looks
no.
legitimately disgusted by it too.
Yeah.
He read the porno script before he signed up, and they
Yeah.
ain't got no licking in that porno script.
He's like, I thought you were going to suck my dick, not lick my face
Yeah.
with your cock breath.
He's out there preparing a nice Italian meal for him before the scene, and she's up there. She sneaks up on him, licking him
Ugh.
like a
don't
dog
do it.
licks too long.
No.
Yeah.
No. No.
He's got an onion in his hand.
He drops it. Oh, he's so scared that he dropped an onion or a potato or something in water.
Bro, he better wash his
don't
hands. She
do
gonna
it.
have a pussy burning.
No. No, don't do it. No. 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 Don't do it.
Oh, hang on. Okay, it cuts from so he done been pushed up into the countertop.
Yeah.
He's sitting on the countertop, sprawled out like straight up, kind of like a bitch.
Yeah.
And she's petting him. He's saying no. Now there's a close up of his nose and lips. Going,
This
no.
fucking old man nose hairs.
Yeah.
We're looking deep into his septum right now.
No, don't do. Dude, he probably ain't even signed up for it. They just
Right.
tricked an old guy to show up to this porno.
They just took him out of the home. And it's like, you're going to see your grandkids today. And he's like, no, what are you doing?
No, I'm preparing mashed potatoes. Come on, lady, let me finish. The kids.
He thinks it's his granddaughter. He's like, what's happening? Poor old man.
I'm a virgin.
He said, I'm
I'm
a
a
virgin.
virgin.
Don't do it. I'm a virgin.
No.
No. No.
I was not expecting him to be the virgin.
Right?
That's so funny.
Oh my God, that poor old man.
Dude, what on earth? Have you. Okay. Jesus Christ. You ever seen. What's the worst porno you ever watched?
Oh, I mean, I've been down some fucking dark rabbit holes. Like on the podcast a couple years ago, a listener is a friend of my buddy's. He sent us a video of a dude fucking a chicken. And we watched that shit live for the first time on air, and it was weird. Not only because it was a chicken, but the way he was getting into it. He was like spitting on it, like eating its fucking chicken pussy and shit. It was fucking bizarre.
Did the chicken look like this was normal, or was the chicken freaking out?
No, and that's the thing. For like the first half of the video, I thought the chicken was dead because it wasn't moving. And I was like, I'm looking at it, and this is all on an episode. I don't remember what fucking number it was, but I'm watching it, and I go, is that fucking thing dead? And then it moves his head, and I was like, oh no, it's alive. Oh my God.
Oh, that chicken's used to getting its pussy ate.
Bro, it was weird.
Oh, fuck.
So I've seen some dark shit.
He's tenderizing that chicken.
It's one of the 11 herbs and spices. Oh, dude, it's fucked.
They're all like, Jeff, you make such tender chicken. How do you do it? Dude, I watched, to stay on animal porn,
There you go.
I watched a lady get fucked by a horse one time.
I've seen that.
And dude, it was one of them wild ones because she was like, they were hyping her up beforehand. The whole video, they're in the horse stable, and they're like, you got it. And dude, she's slapping her pussy, spitting on her hand.
like a UFC fighter preparing where they hit themselves. She's just smacking the pussy. pussy.
Yeah, right. Making it go numb beforehand.
Bro.
And then they get the horse all ready. They jerk it off a little, get it going, and they line her up. And this horse was a 2-pump chump.
Yeah.
He just stick it in, boom, boom. He's done. He pulled out.
Oh, my God.
And then they did, the cream pie close-up on pornos?
Yeah.
They did a cream pie close-up. And just this grey cum shoots out of her vagina.
Jesus.
It was maybe the most traumatizing porno.
Yeah.
The issue with porn is kind of like the issue with like Urban Dictionary, where you Urban Dictionary is you go to it, you put whatever word in,
Like
and there's
slang or whatever. Yeah.
ulterior meanings to everything. But once you see it, you can't ever unsee it.
Yeah.
Now,
It's like Bill Burr. I mean, we were just talking about him. He has a great bit where he talks about like watching like beheadings and stuff like that. He goes, I think of your soul like it has a bunch of pixels. And anytime you watch shit like that, a couple pixels just float away. He goes, eventually you're not going to have anything left. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what it's like.
You can't never unsee it.
There's this famous story. I think it was like 2007 or something, where in Seattle, I want to say, some dude got fucked by a horse and he wanted to do it. All right. And his buddy was there filming it, whatever. But the thing about it is that his buddy was supposed to hold the horse back a little bit so it didn't go balls deep. It ended up going balls deep in this dude and killed him. And the video was circulating on the internet for a while. I've honestly, for years, have tried to find that video and I can't. And it's like, because that's the craziest shit you can think of, is the dude who wanted to get fucked by a horse gets fucked to death by a horse.
Damn.
It's ridiculous.
That don't even sound like a good idea.
Oh my God.
They got long dicks,
Yeah.
like feet long
Oh,
cocks.
yeah.
And
Just think about that in your intestines.
it's gonna have to snake up your intestines, but it ain't gonna. It's just gonna blow through your intestines.
Yeah.
So he died of internal bleeding
Oh,
then.
yeah.
Fuck.
It's fucked up. But think about that. It's like the buddy that you trusted to hold that horse back just didn't do anything and let it go balls deep.
But that ain't the buddy's fault. You ain't holding back a horse trying to fuck. Them things is
You
big
could do
as shit.
something. Like, tase it in the ass or something.
Listen, I'm all down for you getting fucked if I'm your friend. I am. I'll videotape it, whatever. I ain't grabbing a horse's cock. And if a horse got a hard dick, I ain't trifling with that horse, buddy. That's all. You can run. Move forward,
Yeah.
bud.
Once you feel it sliding in, you slide out.
Yeah. You or hold the horse still and you fuck the horse.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Oh,
fuck.
yeah. All right.
All right, next video.
Next video.
Are you really Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter?
Crikey! Sure am. Now suck my fucking dick.
I love that one just because it's the most cliche thing you could think of a porn. It's like getting into character and then just be like, suck my fucking dick. It's like,
He only says one Australian word, crikey.
crikey.
And then that's the best because I actually appreciate that in a porno. I like when a porno's got a plot off the bat,
Yeah.
but then I hate when they maintain the plot through the porno. Like,
Okay.
anytime, whether it's a plumber or whatever,
Yeah.
once the dick comes out, drop the plot.
Yeah.
Because I hate watching pornos and it's some chick getting fucked and she's like, are you going to fix my sink, Mr. Walters?
Oh, yeah.
And she's turning around saying that's like, no, shut up and enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah. A little while ago, my buddy and I were watching videos of like the dumbest shit that porn stars say. And that was a good video. And one of the, like the first clip was of this like old, I don't know if she was actually Russian, but she looked Russian. She's on all fours, doggy style. But she looks completely uninterested on what's going on. The dude's fucking her and she's just stone faced. And she has a cigarette. And she's just getting fucked. And then out of nowhere, she looks like right at the camera and she just goes, do you like mama's shithole? I'm like, Jesus. Like, how did you think that was sexy at all?
Dude, say it with a Russian accent too. Do you like mama's shithole?
Shithole.
Damn, bro. That's you ever fuck while smoking?
No.
Dude, best sex ever. Especially if the lady you're with is smoking too.
Yeah.
Because when they take big drags, it gets a little tighter. And it's kind of like you're doing a little illicit activity,
Yeah.
and then once it's out, you finish whether it be a joint. I suggest a joint over a cigarette.
Yeah.
But once you're done, there's this like, oh, we're on the same vibe feeling.
Interesting.
It's the move. It's the move.
Nice. Because I'm the type of guy, it's cigarette after sex. That is like the best for me. Like once I'm done, I just want to piss, clean up, and then just have my cigarette.
Yep. Fuck yeah.
God, you're so disgusting. That's not white chocolate. That's your dick.
Oh man, and I love this because it's out of context. Like we don't know what the buildup was. She's like,
Yeah.
"That's not white chocolate. That's your dick."
I love the tricks they pull. Because have you ever... I think that the tricks they pull in pornos have given us false hope as guys. You could never pull that.
No.
If you tried to be cute with your lady and you looked at her and you're like, I got a Hershey's bar over there,
Yeah.
but I also got some white chocolate. And then you pull out your dick, your lady's going to be like, shut up.
Yeah.
Put your dick back.
Give me my fucking chocolate.
Yeah. False hope, bro.
It's like my buddy was telling me that he does weird voices and shit when he's trying to turn on his chick. Like he'd be like kissing her and shit and she's getting all into it, and then he'll just like do a fucking horrendous voice and like try to like sexy talk in a terrible voice, and then she'll like get turned off, and then he'll turn her back on again, and he just keeps going back and forth. And I'm like, honestly, if I tried that with my chick, she would smack my dick and tell me to fuck off.
Yeah.
She'd be like, no, you killed it. Like there's no getting it back. Fuck off.
Dude, that's like edging, but turning her on
Yeah.
edging. Dude, that's a terrible idea. Nobody should ever.
No.
If you're switching voices, it's got to be a request.
Yeah. Like if she doesn't want you to sound so country.
Yeah,
She's like, come
yeah.
on, dude.
Come on, speaking good Spanish.
Oh, that'd be great.
Dude, if I could speak Spanish, I'd whip it out.
Yeah. I tried to do that one time. My girl laughed at me.
Speaking Spanish? She's like, I don't know what you're
She's like, I don't
saying.
give a fuck. You could be telling me to fucking blow a donkey. She's like, I don't give a shit.
Did she like it, though, or was she not?
She likes when I speak Spanish, but not during sex because it's like, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But
You-
like when I play Mexican music, like I'll sing to her in
Yeah.
Spanish, and she's like, "Oh, that's so hot!" Like whatever. Like I don't even know what you're saying, but that's hot. But if I try to do it in bed, she's like, "No, like just speak to me normally."
Yeah, dude, you could get away with so much, though. You know, you could
Yeah.
be hitting it from the back, saying some nasty shit
Yeah.
in Spanish, and it don't matter. Yeah, hang on. That's how you know we didn't get the last part of that. That's how you know you're a bad actor. when they say something like that, and your answer is, "Yeah, well, you know,
Well, you know,
you know."
good improv.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's ridiculous.
I see you don't have a lifeguard here at your beach.
The beach is a bathtub.
Okay.
I've seen this porno.
Yeah. I know the actress. It's Lisa Ann, I think. Like
Okay.
I know her. But this is the dumbest shit because I just take it to reality. If I'm taking a bath, some bitch walks in and she's like, "Oh, you need a lifeguard." I'm like, first of all, who are you and what mental institution did you escape from? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Why's every guy gotta act when it's supposed to be a strong female lead? Why they all gotta act like such simps?
Yeah.
He's just sitting in the bathtub like a little child. What do you mean? It's the bathtub.
Yeah.
Dude. Showing up in lingerie and heels. The real question is, does she fuck him with the heels on in the bathtub? Because if she does and she ruins her heels,
Yeah.
that's how you know you got good dick.
Or that's how you know she's got money. Because she's like, I don't care if I ruin them.
Yep.
Oh, man.
No body of water is safe without a lifeguard.
It's 2 feet deep, lady. What are you doing here?
I just love how, and that's the epitome of what this is the bad acting. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
What are you doing here in my parents' real nice house?
Yeah.
You can relax. You're safe now. Your lifeguard is here.
Okay.
The fucking music in the
And
background.
his smile, too, he knew was about to happen.
Get out of the water, there's a shark! What? A shark? Get out of the water!
Now, how dumb are you that when she says that, you don't just lay there and go, for real? Like, shut up. But he's like, oh my God.
It's a shark.
Shark in the water!
Wait, there's no shark in the bathtub.
Aren't you glad you had a lifeguard here to save you?
I guess. What? Wait a minute. You should go. There's no need for you to be here.
I think I should stay, and I think we should have sex.
Very forward.
The faces that they're making.
He said, I don't know. And she just nodded him off. She said, yeah, you do know. Come on.
It's so weird. She's like,
Okay.
Do you got to get in the shower to rinse off the soap, the suds?
you have to, right? Like, I'm not gonna try to fucking plow you right now when I'm all sudsy.
You ever play with like bubble baths as a kid and you like put a beard on and
Yeah,
other shit? That would have been the best plot for the. He said, "Hang on," got himself a beard or something,
Or fucking put it in his hair and have like
Yeah.
a crazy hairdo.
big mohawk, big white, and it melts onto her as he's fucking.
Just drips onto her back.
Lisa Ann.
So, for this one, in the beginning, I want to play a game. All right?
'Kay.
I'm going to pause it at a certain point and ask you, what do you think is going to happen next?
Okay, I'm with it.
It was just a hot girl strolling down a road. There's a dude on the side of the road.
In sandals.
What you doing out here?
I'm out of money now.
Well, what do you say? I'm kind of low on cash and all. Like $20 for a blowjob?
What? Loser.
Oh, come on now.
A high-class prostitute.
Oh,
High class
High class
prostitute.
prostitute.
just a little bitch, aren't you?
All right, so she walks away. Oh, damn it. I didn't pause it quick enough.
There's an Oompa Loompa.
So, fuck the game that I wanted to play.
No, you're good. You're good. There's still a lot of questions to be asked.
Let's just watch it.
I got the perfect riddle for you. Oompa loompa doopity dee. If you are smart, you will listen to me. What do you get when you swallow down cum? Oompa loompa.
Wait, they got real midgets.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. The first camera angle, you ain't actually sure if it's a midget. It could just be the camera angle. They got real midgets to dress up as Oompa Loompas.
Yeah, and harass this poor woman.
With the worst fucking Halloween City wigs
Yeah.
of all time.
The worst thing is that when they're singing their little Oompa Loompa song, how off they are from each other. It's almost like an echo.
It's like a horror movie. Oompa Loompas. Dude. Well, I think obviously this is about to be a four-way.
Do you think they're going to pick up the guy from earlier?
Of course. And if they don't, he's joining in.
Yeah, he's like, you're already getting fucked by midgets.
He ain't left yet. He's still watching. They ain't but 15 steps down the road. Hey, you think he planted them Oompa Loompas?
Right?
He's like, I only got $20 because I paid these two midgets $100 like earlier in the day.
It's like when people are trying to rob you, it'll be one dude down the street and then one dude behind you.
Yeah.
Swallow as much as any horse can.
I got the
They got a
perfect
southern
riddle for
midget.
you.
Did you hear that?
Walk nearly all day long. Oompa loompa doopity dee.
What do you think would become of you then?
Oh, I like the look of that.
Hang
now
on. They
they're
pulled out skateboards to chase her. They're like, our legs ain't long enough, but if I
We'll
got
never
four
catch her."
wheels, we ain't never gonna get. But she's in heels. It's a bad. I thought they were in Italy or something. They got them Italian trees from Gladiator
Oh, yeah.
on the side of the road. It's like, oh shit.
Oh,
The cutoff from the first guy gave it away.
Yeah.
You knew he was an American with the cutoff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Things have been rough for Wee Man ever since Jackass. Poor guy.
She keeps pulling her dress down.
Yeah.
You're a high-class prostitute. Let it all hang out, baby. Dude, did he just rip a kickflip? No shit. He's like, we're gonna chase this bitch down in style.
All right, now she's home.
Hang on,
She's
pause
safe.
it. She just ran up the street into her house.
I guess, or somebody's house.
She's out of money and makes it to a couch. Okay.
All right, I guess we could play the game. What do you think happens next? We still got about a minute.
Okay, Willy Wonka comes out from the kitchen, and he pulls his, not even his dick. He plays a trick with his dick. Every time he unzips his pants, there's a new candy that comes out. Okay, what actually happens?
Let's see.
What did it work? Oh, I think it's like a little devils or something like that.
Nope, they're behind the couch. This is the stupidest part for me because she's just panicking on the couch. Like, she doesn't even get up and run or anything.
What does it say about pornos? That if you play the 5 seconds earlier, she sounds like she's moaning.
Yeah.
And now she's still making porno lady noises as she's afraid.
Yeah.
Ah!
Like, she could be getting fucked or she could be
Yeah.
terrorized by Oompa Loompas.
I ain't never gonna watch another porno again without hearing Oompa Loompa screams.
I got another riddle for you. Oompa Loompa doopity-dee.
Yeah, she's like coming all over the couch.
Yeah, she is. How much you gotta pay a midget to do this? That's degrading as hell.
Right.
They got fake eyebrows on too. And dude, they got the you know how bodybuilders wear the tanning oil that makes them all look blacker?
Yeah.
They got that tanning oil on their faces because you can see their arms are white.
And even his neck, like it's not the same color. Oh man, is that racist? Like he's doing Oompa Loompa face?
Yeah, he's got the neck and head. All midgets got the neck and head of bodybuilders.
Yeah.
But their lower body's just tiny.
File stops you from farting and stretching your pile.
But it's repulsive, revolting, and wrong.
But fucking ass fucking all day long.
Unless it's us you fuck, you will live in happy.
And you see now their flies are down. their fucking fly is open.
They weren't behind that couch. This is a whole different scene. There ain't no space.
Yeah, like where did they come from then?
How many times did they film this scene?
Right. That's why they're all off. It's like I've been doing this all day, singing this stupid fucking song.
What's the minimum you'd have to be paid as a midget to do this?
I mean, probably not much for me. I got no self-respect.
If you're gonna fuck, you're fine with whatever
Why
it
not?
is. $100, you're good for the day.
Yeah. It's fucking. Oh man. But yeah, those bad acting in porn. Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus. That's
Damn.
not part of it.
What on earth?
That's the best.
You got a recurring porno segment?
I might have to do that because I found a bunch of this shit, man.
Holy shit.
Like, I'm even gonna back it up. Oh man. When I was researching, I guess you could call it research for this shit, I found a lot of just like bad acting like in movies and shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god, one of the worst ones I saw was called like Bird Apocalypse or something. And it was just terrible like camera quality, terrible acting, and then even the CGI. It was almost like they took like a little GIF or whatever of a bird flapping its wings and just put it up on the video. And so there's like 3 birds just like flapping right there. These people are pretending to like swing at it, and it was fucking ridiculous.
You ever seen so I have a reputation amongst my family and friends for being the guy who sticks through bad movies.
Okay.
I finish every fucking movie I start. So one of the movies my pops and I started was La Casa de Mi Padre.
Oh, I think I've heard that.
So it's a Will Ferrell movie.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And that's why we was so confused. So we turned it on thinking it's going to be like a funny Spanish-English Western with Will Ferrell.
Mm-hmm.
He speaks bad Spanish the whole movie. We skipped to different points within the movie. We were like, he's got to quit speaking Spanish at some point.
Nope.
No, maintains it the whole time. And Will Ferrell sounds like a guy who don't speak no Spanish.
Yeah.
It sounds like they had to cut every scene to get him to go, no, you got to say La Pero. Like,
my favorite thing is bad horror movies. Because I love horror, but when you get a really bad one, like Sharknado, that type of
movie.
shit, I fucking found a one that was like Killer Sofa. And it was like a lazy boy recliner sofa. And I just watched the trailer. I didn't even watch the movie. But in the trailer, like, it's a serious, like, horror movie trailer.
Yeah.
But about this sofa that kills people.
They get on it and it
yeah,
claps.
like with the little footrest. Like, it would trap people in the footrest and, like, eat them or something. One of the dumbest parts of the trailer is that people are standing outside. And they're all, like, panicking or whatever. And they look up at a second-story window. And the sofa is in the window, and then it just moves, and they're like, "Oh my god!" It's the dumbest fucking thing.
Bad horrors become comedies.
Yeah, like that's what it has to be.
Yeah.
I want to do that though, like sit down and like record myself watching one of these bad movies and just like commentary over it.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, man, this has been fucking great.
Been a blast.
I appreciate you coming out, man.
Anytime.
Like I said, I'm popping my cherry with this new podcast, the Whitest Mexican You Know. That's me.
Hell yeah.
And,
You got like Mexican shit that you do? Like you got some hardcore Mexican stuff you do?
For the podcast or just in
like
life?
to this day. You got something that's like influenced heavily.
I would just say like music. Mostly. Like, I listened to a lot of the old Mexican music that my dad listened to. And, like, at the time, I fucking hated it because it would be blasting, like I told you, Saturday morning, loud as shit through the house. But now it's, like, sometimes when I drink, like, I miss those days of, like, drinking with my family while that music is playing.
Yeah.
So I'll, like, sit outside with a little speaker and play that shit blasted and just, like, fucking get drunk by myself.
Hell yeah, bro. That's as Mexican as it gets.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only Mexican shit I do, for the most part.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, you could make the stereotypes and just be like, I drink a lot. Like, that's one of the things.
Yeah. There's a lot of similarity. I think it's just rural life. If you got your parents from northern Mexico?
No. They're, like, from the mountains. Like in Mexico, but, like...
What state?
I know the city. The city's called Palmar. Like I said, it's a small little fucking...
You got the internet. Look up what state Palmar is.
Yeah.
Just because, so like my lady's parents and my ex-girlfriend's parents are both from, well, no, one's from Durango and the other's from Chihuahua.
Oh, okay.
And they have, because it's more rural in them areas, they're so fucking redneck.
Yeah.
Just like fixing shit with duct tape, with super glue and shit. Shit breaks and it's like, oh, it ain't broken. We got it.
Yeah, like my family, like my grandparents are in a little, like ranch in the mountains.
Zoom out for me.
Where's the zoom?
Keep going. That way we see all of Mexico but with a dot. Oh shit! Okay, they're south central. Like they're just to the west of Mexico City.
Oh yeah, that's a lot more south than I thought.
So like Chihuahua's still the desert up north, and then Durango's just south of it.
Oh yeah, damn! I never realized how fucking south that is.
Yeah, bro.
And it's in the mountains. Like I said, to get there, to get to my grandparents' ranch, it was literally like a tiny road that, like, if you looked off to the right, it's just a fucking cliff. And, like, that's how you got to their fucking ranch. It was just out in the middle of nowhere.
There's
It's
something
wild.
so serene about that lifestyle,
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Especially now when you're used to a city and all the electricity and being able to buy food 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Just going out into the middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to hang out with the people who ain't never been to the city because a lot of the time they're a lot less tolerant because they ain't got to be tolerant.
They're used to just the people that they're around, and that's it. Yeah.
But if you can have the nice balance of both, I plan on the minute that I get any amount of money to be able to buy a place, I'm getting a place out in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
Bumfuck Egypt, bro.
Yeah.
Just to be... You can get that. You can look up at the stars and they're all there.
Yeah.
You can. There's something about having nothing but just like nature around you. You can think clear.
Yeah.
You can get away.
Because, I mean, ever since I left Texas, I've lived in bigger cities, like near Denver, you know, close to LA, and now fucking Vegas. It's like, I miss that. Like, when I was out in Texas in October, I went to my uncle's ranch, which is out in the middle of fucking nowhere, and that's nice, man. It's just, they have a bonfire going and drinking and fucking stars and everything. It's great.
And you're all giddy, too. You show up and you're like, can we have a bonfire?
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, we do this every night. Yeah, of course. We already started it.
Yeah. And it's like, even just being able to, like, shoot guns out there. Like, we were shooting cans, and my uncle's dog, this idiot, as I'm shooting cans, he's jumping right in front of me. And I'm like trying to get him to go away and shit. And then my uncle just casually walks behind me, puts his hand on my shoulder and just goes, "Don't kill my dog." And just keeps walking. And I was like, well, get the fucking thing.
There's a freedom to be able to do whatever you want when you're out. And even if it's illegal, because it's out in the middle of nowhere, you do whatever you want.
Yeah, as long as nobody who's hanging out with you snitches on you, we're good.
Yeah, you're fine. There's something peaceful.
I used to go to Mexico all the time when I was a kid. Like, and what was fucked up is we used to drive from Chicago to Mexico and south. Like, we used to take that drive, so it would take forever. And it's like me, my 4 other siblings, and then my mom and my dad. We would stay out there for a while, and like I said, it's in the middle of nowhere. Me and my younger brother used to explore, explore the ranch, and then we would go off and just fuck around. One time we're coming down this little-ass road. We're taking a big curve, and once we round that curve, there is just a bunch of fucking cows and then a bull, like, sitting right in the front of them. Like, they're just walking the path, and, like, we run into them, and we didn't know what to do, so we just slowly started, like, walking back, and then just sprinted back to the fucking ranch. We're like, what the fuck? Like, you'll never see that in the U.S. You'll never just see a bunch of cows and one bull just leading them.
Just roaming the fucking
like, what
earth.
the fuck? There's, like, no dude out there herding them. I was like, who are they? Like, where are you supposed to be?
Yeah. Somebody's losing their shit because all their cows is gone.
Yeah.
Did y'all, when y'all drove, did y'all get stopped for having American plates a lot?
I don't remember if we did.
That was one of them things that my lady's been back down to Chihuahua. Her parents just got papers at the end of the last presidency.
Okay.
They got papers. And so when you ain't got papers, you can't leave.
Yeah.
Right? Because you ain't trying to get trapped.
Yeah.
So they hadn't been back to see their families in, 22 years or something.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to hear because they talked about even just driving into northern Mexico, just Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Because like Juarez is far north Chihuahua.
Okay.
And they live in like southern Chihuahua.
Yeah.
So they talked about on the drive down, they'd get pulled over and the police would just be like, hey, we need a bribe, basically.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you ain't going much further.
Yeah.
And when they realize that it's when it's Mexicans, basically, and that you probably ain't going to be able to just spare $100, they start being a little more lenient, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But they said that they still get pulled over every time they go down there and ask, like, what are you doing? Why are you down here?
Yeah.
So it's such a different
it's
situation
wild.
down. It's crazy because it's like, One nation south, it's got 4 of the top 10 deadliest cities in the world.
Oh yeah. And what's wild, I haven't confirmed this, but I think my grandfather is like tied in with the cartel somehow. When I was down there one time, I was a child, so I don't remember a whole lot of what was going on. But I remember my dad and a bunch of my uncles and my grandfather drove to this place. When we got there, it was like a compound, and there were a bunch of armed guys like on the perimeter of this place. They drive up and they start like questioning, my uncles and shit. And then at that point, I didn't know a whole lot of Spanish, but they say something and then they point back to where my grandfather was sitting, and they look and they just go, "Oh, okay." And then they just opened up the gate. I was like, what the fuck is happening? And then like when we got in, like there were a bunch of dudes like, handshaking my grandfather and shit. I was like, dude, what the fuck are you tied in with, man?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of like the mob in early America. If you ain't part of it or you ain't affiliated with it, you're getting fucked up by it.
Yeah.
There ain't no avoiding it.
Yeah.
So when your grandpa was our age, you kind of ain't got a choice.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to do to make money.
Yeah. And I mean, it could have been a situation where he just grew up with these guys.
Yeah.
So like now they're old men, and it's like, don't fuck with this guy. Like I knew him from back in the day.
100%.
This shit is wild though. Like when I saw that, it blew my fucking mind. I was like, who are you, dude? Like, oh, man.
And I'm getting kicked out for selling marijuana. Fuck
yeah,
you.
Right? Oh, man. All right. Well, we'll wrap this bitch up, man. Do you have anything that you want to plug?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Roscoe, Roscoe. The E is important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to get, like, dogs. There's Lewis Hamilton, the F1 driver. Mm-hmm. He's got a dog named Roscoe without an E. It's just Rosco. So add the E. Roscoe W. Spoon. It wouldn't let me put Witherspoon fully.
Really?
Yeah, it's too long.
Oh, okay.
So if I had one letter shorter in my name, if it was Rosco, I could have put full Witherspoon.
Yeah.
But Roscoe W. Spoon, Instagram, Twitter, and then I'm just Roscoe Witherspoon on Facebook. Yeah, bro, we're both doing shit all around town all the time. If y'all ever see any open mics, please come out. And then if you follow me, I post all the shows I'm on. So
yeah, nice. And you just started doing a podcast, no?
Oh yeah. I got Tuesday afternoon with Roscoe Witherspoon. That comes out on Tuesdays. And then I got one with my buddy Reese. It's the Reese and Roscoe show.
It's great. I've watched both of those already, so they're fucking great, man.
Thank you. Yeah, they're good. I'm starting an interview one called Rolling with Roscoe.
Nice.
That should be soon. You're going to come on.
Oh, yeah.
And just shooting the shit, kind of more like Joe Rogan style. We're just going to get in there. I got a few basic questions to ask just to get it started, but after that, we're just rolling.
Awesome.
So,
that sounds great, man. Definitely go follow Roscoe. He's awesome. He's funny, great comedian. I'm Antonio. All of you people who subscribe and who watch, you know where to find me. I have a new Instagram page for stand-up. It's _Hernandez_comedy. I think that's my fucking handle. Something like that. So go find me on there. And just subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hang out. Tune in next week. I think I'm gonna have AJ Rivera,
bro.
which he's great to have on. So yeah. I appreciate you guys for listening, and I'll see you next time.
Fuck yeah. Have a good one.